music frees something up in the soul. Music unlocks something in people's hearts. I was told I couldn't sing for shit by a former best friend, and now I'm like, man, I'm killing it. I think it's a lot easier to punch down than it is to lift someone up. But I think the truth is that once you do learn how to lift people up and let people shine, I think that's the greatest gift we could give to anyone. And I think I see it a lot where musicians, and I've experienced it myself, where you just get torn apart by people because they think they're doing you a favor. But the truth is that criticism without constructive feedback is just nastiness. You're not giving a person a ladder. You're not giving a person like a direction to go. Like you're just ripping their heart out. And I think that's something that should really stop.
Everyone, welcome back to the Good Vibes Show. Today I'm interesting. I'm interviewing Derek Lee Goodreid, and he's a singer and a producer, and we're going to talk about his music. We might share a couple of his songs for you today, and so I'll let the conversation just take place. If you're new to the show and you haven't watched it before, make sure you click subscribe if you're on YouTube or if you're on Apple or Spotify. It really helps us. If you like the show, the best way you can support us is to actually go in and rate the show on the platform that you watch it. Obviously, share the show. That's a good thing to do as well. But thank you so much for your support and for listening. And leave us a comment. Let us know what you think of the conversation. So we're going to be talking about Derek's music and his journey in his songwriting process. On the show, we like to talk about mental health things and the good things that music does for us as singers and songwriters and musicians and producers and all that good stuff. So welcome, Derek.
G'day. Awesome. Thanks for having me.
I love watching all your little guitars, or I shouldn't say little, but your large collection of guitars in the background there. It's very inspiring, actually.
Yeah, I picked up the guitar when I was 17, I think it was. And I was really into, Dashboard Confessional and emo kind of music, and just singing along badly to to my bad, sad emo poetry. So yeah, it's developed a lot since then. But yeah, it's all good.
It's cool, and you've got a banjo there as well. Do you play the banjo?
I'm learning to play the banjo.
It's a new one. It's so cool. Like I'm sure that because you do most, like, would you say it's hip hop and that kind of style of music as well? Is that what you would consider?
No, I started off doing hip hop when I was younger. Like when I was 16, I got into music with a friend and we were rapping over beats and stuff like that. But then since then, I think it really developed when I went to Norway, and I didn't know many people. So I sat on the guitar and really wrote and got into singing and developed my vocal technique and got into the blues music and made friends through the blues club. And then started getting into more like blues and rockabilly music. So but I still love hip hop and the lyricism and things like that. So I do play around a lot with lyrics and just have fun with music. The reason why I use a lot of MIDI nowadays, like with drumming, is because I've been finding it hard to find musician like constantly, because I moved from Norway to here. I was in a band. Just before I left we stopped as a band, and moving back to Perth, I found it hard to find people. So I got into MIDI and creating beats through Easy Drummer and so a lot of. Sorry?
The Logic Easy Drummer.
It's I use PC. I don't use Mac when I use music, which is probably a heretical thing. But
I'm gonna pick your brains about that because I was just using that. I was like, oh wow, look at this drumming machine they can do.
It was yeah, because I couldn't find a drummer, and finding a session drummer was quite expensive.
Awesome.
And also I enjoy doing it. I found like I was got into it, and with Easy Drummer, it sounds like real drums. It doesn't sound like the electronic drums. It sounds like there's a drum, like an actual drummer playing. Even though if you listen to one of my songs, The Shakes, it goes from sort of like a rockabilly blues thing to a metal breakdown, and then it goes into jazz. And that was just me having fun with Easy Drummer and experimenting. So there's a lot of cool things you can do with that kind of stuff, and it kind of frees you up, and it also makes it accessible if you dealing, like if you're someone who has disabilities, who can't drum or can't play an instrument. I think that's the kind of cool thing about it, is that it allows anyone to make music, and I'm a big proponent of that, because music frees something up in the soul. This is I wasn't going to get so deep, but I really believe I really believe music unlocks something in people's hearts. And I really encourage people to either learn an instrument or create in their own way, or just even to sing. Like I was told I couldn't sing for shit by a former best friend, and now I'm like, man, I'm killing it. So yeah,
he was
it's
wrong.
a big turnaround. Yeah, in a big way. I think trying to stifle someone when they are trying to create, especially when they first start out, because when you first start out, you suck. If you listen to my early stuff when I was trying to do the emo, which is not available anywhere online, but if I showed it to you, you'd be like, dude, that's awful. But now you listen, from that to this, like it's chalk and cheese kind of, or no, that's probably not the best, but it's gone from hide it away to traveling around the world, which is awesome. So, yeah.
So I want to come back to what you were talking about with the mental health stuff and the benefit, and I think that's such a great piece of advice to give to people, because there's lots of young people want to get started, or even older people want to get started, and they're facing all the criticisms of people around them, and that's something that I definitely think is worthwhile mentioning, because what people say doesn't necessarily, like, they might not be saying it about you. They might actually be saying something. They are saying something about you, but what they're really talking about themselves.
Yeah, I think it's a lot easier to punch down than it is to lift someone up. But I think the truth is that once you do learn how to lift people up and let people shine, I think that's the greatest gift we could give to anyone. And I think I see it a lot where musicians, and I've experienced it myself, where you just get torn apart by people because they think they're doing you a favor. But the truth is that criticism without constructive feedback is just nastiness. Like you're not giving a person a ladder. You're not giving a person like a direction to go. Like you're just ripping their heart out. And I think that's something that should really stop. But I know it never will, because people are people. But if you have an opportunity where someone shows you something, and it's like they've spent a lot of time, you see the blood, sweat, and tears put into it, and it's not good, you're better off saying to them, like, this isn't great, but this is a way it could be great. Like, you know what I mean? Like, or, collaborating or lifting them up, or, that's, to me, that's kind of like being divine, like on earth, right? Like, I know that's a weird thing to say, but it's sort of like that to me. Showing grace to someone and showing them the way is a lot more fulfilling, even for yourself, or Yeah, and I love to encourage people. I've had people come up to me and show me stuff, and it hasn't been the greatest. And then I've just sort of sat down with them and said, I think this is constructively, this could be good. We just have to work on a couple of things.
Mm.
And generally they come back and you can see the improvements, and and I think that's a greater help for someone than just shitting on them,
Yeah.
basically. Yeah. But
Really lovely way to
yeah,
put it. Like, I really like how you said give them a ladder to go up.
yeah, yeah,
And that, yeah, that it's easy to punch down on people, and that's true, it is.
yeah,
Yeah. And it's just it's a big thing online, because it's
yeah,
great that we have all these groups. Like, I wouldn't have met you without some kind of group.
yeah,
So it's
definitely.
great that we have Facebook, and it's great that we have those groups and stuff, but at the same time they can sometimes be filled up or dominated by one or two people that are strangely mean. I don't know why they are.
Yeah,
I think as the older you get, the more you realize this. But when you're younger, you don't realize that. And I sometimes worry about people who will not worry about them, as in sleepless nights over those people, but I'm concerned for those people thinking, oh God, your beautiful gift, and and yeah, you're right, they are rough around the edges, but that person's almost like maybe ripping away what they could be in the future. And
yeah,
the joy of doing music, not necessarily for a career even, like, there's so much joy that comes from doing music that, a lot of people don't need fame, fortune, and fabulous prizes from doing it. They just
yeah, exactly. Yeah, and like I said before, allowing their gift to grow unlocks something in their soul, right? Like, don't take that key away, right? Like, if your words of encouragement can help change a person's life, why wouldn't you try to say or do the best for them, right? Like, what is it in you that's lacking in doing that? And yeah, the person may not become the next I don't know any pop stars from today.
Yeah.
The next
I
the
had this
next
experience
Elvis.
once with this kid, right? Like I
Yeah,
used to help kids learn music when I was younger, and you'd have these kids come along that wanted to get involved, right? And they weren't very good. They were trying,
yeah.
right?
They're starting out. Yeah,
There was a kid that I met once, and he went on one of those like X Factor shows or something, like one of those auditions. And he'd come back and he was so excited about it. He was like, yeah, I did my audition and something like that. And he had his own like sort of rap style thing that he was doing, right? This was probably about 2
yeah.
years ago. And I said, oh, how'd you go? And he goes, oh, the judge, he goes, I didn't get through the next one. He goes, the judges said my voice sounded better in person than it does on the microphone. I took that as like a negative, but he was very excited about that comment. Like,
Yeah,
not obviously, like, I could see why they were saying that to him.
yeah.
But he took that as a positive, like, oh, the judges said my voice sounds better in person, and it's better not to be on a microphone. Like, it's better to be in person with you. And he took it as a positive.
Oh man.
Bless his little heart.
Yeah, yeah, bless him. But yeah, yeah.
So there's so many good things that obviously music can do, and it sounds like you've had to overcome some challenges yourself. Obviously you had that friend that had said some things that weren't true, well, they didn't turn out to be true, but have there been things along the way where you've music has helped you, or you've discovered something about yourself through you doing your music?
Yeah, so I didn't even realize this, but like when I was in Norway, I was having a lot of mental health problems. I shared this story just recently in that I was on a train and I started having like I was physically shaking and yelling because I was having like flashbacks to stuff that had happened to me as a kid.
Wow.
And getting off the train and people like staring at me like I was crazy. But anyway, I ended up going to going to a psychologist and getting assessed and things like that, and learning that I wasn't going crazy. I was struggling with CPTSD, and I'd been doing I'd been dealing with it my whole life. And when I look back at the lyrics and the music I'd been writing, a lot of that was coming through, and music was a really good way of getting it out, because I was a very angry kid growing up, and I got into hip hop and I got into punk and I got like that sort of really just angry. I really gravitated towards angry music, and never understood kind of why. And then as I got older, I mellowed out a bit, but there was still that anger and bitterness that I didn't understand. And then getting diagnosed was a real relief. And I think during that time, I wrote a song called Feel It, which was my first sort of positive, uplifting song. This kind of blues rock song, similar to like the Black Keys kind of thing. But it was the first time my lyrics and my music were like pushed up, like, you know what I mean? And because I finally understood what was going on with me, like I had this real breakthrough in my mental health, and as well as creatively and artistically, I could understand myself better, and I could examine myself better through my lyrics and through writing, while I was getting seeing a psychologist and getting the help that I needed. And I encourage anyone who is having troubles. I had days where I couldn't get out of bed. I never understood why. Dealing with depression, I just thought I was tired, or I was just sick all the time. But it was because I was just struggling with my brain, with my head, and all these stuff that I tried to repress, like hold it down and not deal with. And it was just, good relief. And the last couple of years, seeing psychologists and stuff, and getting the help that I needed, has really just helped me artistically. And I feel like in parallel to that, my music has gotten better, and the quality has gotten better, and collaborating with people that I never thought I would collaborate with, like amazing musicians, and making friends through that is really awesome. I still struggle a little bit to talk to people about it, because I'm still dealing with it and still, learning stuff about it. But I definitely encourage anyone who's having a hard time to go to your GP, get a mental health plan, and talk to someone, and it's not weakness. It's a real strength to do that, to take control of your mental health, and your life, and do something about it. I did it a bit late in life, but I don't regret it at all. And it doesn't matter what age you are, like, just go and see someone and get the help you need. I really encourage that.
That's good advice. And if people are in Australia, they can get, like you said, this mental health plan. You can get subsidized treatments through your GP. And
exactly.
I know Australia's done this, and a lot of countries around the world have invested more money in mental health because of the coronavirus pandemic situation, like, because they know that stressed people out. So we do have more, GPs have more ability to give subsidized treatments. They can give actually up to 10, I think, now with the new health plans, because of the virus. So it's good. And there's, what I'll do is I'll link some resources down below this as well.
Definitely.
Like, there's a few different helplines and stuff like that. So if people are struggling with that, it's always important to make sure we mention you can get help like that. So if you don't feel like you're ready to reach out to a GP or to a mental health professional, you can call someone on a helpline and actually just have a chat with someone. That's a good start as well. And look, there's lots of people that find music as a way to experience, I think, emotions that they might not have ever experienced before, or unlock that. Do you find that in, like, not just making music but listening to music? Do you find that that's, like you said before, you were listening to a lot of angry music? Like, I helped you in that journey.
This is a cool story. So I was doing a gig in Norway at the Buckley's Blues and Roots. It's not there anymore, but it was this cool place where anyone who did, like, from rockabilly to country, like, that kind of Americana kind of music. I did my first gig there, and I was writing and performing a lot of sort of Jeff Buckley, Chris Stapleton, sort of really sad songs. And at the end of it, there was a band after, and I went out there and watched them. and they were doing rockabilly like covers and stuff, and people were dancing. And for me, that was an epiphany of music doesn't just move the soul; it moves. You can move the body. And from then on, I started writing more upbeat and rockabilly and blues sort of songs that had like faster tempos and more upbeat lyrics because I was like, do I want to just be like that emo kid forever? That sort of that melancholy thing, or expand like the emotions and the repertoire of what I was playing. And yeah, so for me, that was like a really great moment in how I create music was seeing people dance to music. And I hadn't seen that for a long time. And then the last gig I did, which was at the Folk and Roots club here in Perth, I played a set, and half the time people were getting up and dancing, and I was only playing guitar and singing. I had no band, I had no backing band, but seeing people dance, I was like, man, this is the greatest feeling. And seeing people smiling, that was a beautiful, beautiful moment, because before I was just so melancholy and inside myself. I didn't look out and see how people are actually enjoying the music. And so, yeah, that was a really nice shift in how I wrote as well and performed. So,
yeah, that's great. And has that inspired you to make different styles of music in the future? Like, do you think, oh yeah, I'd like to explore?
I would like to do a metal album. I'm not gonna lie. I'd love to do a swing metal band. Yeah. Oh yeah. Swing metal with banjo. That would be awesome. That would be like goddamn gallows kind of music. So yeah, I definitely would love to play around. I definitely love to play around with genre. Like within my own music, I try to roll country, blues, and rockabilly and Americana into one song sometimes, because they all come from the same roots. Like they all come from that early blues and stuff like that, and there's just a lot of fun in that. I think one of my favorite artists, Nathaniel Rateliff, if you listen to his music, there's that you can definitely hear that sort of vibe going on, and I love that switching it up a bit.
I forgot what the name of the genre is. I was just trying to look it up on my phone while we're talking. But I really like. I'm going to sound like an idiot because it's slipped my mind. But it's probably something you've already mentioned. There's a band called Iron Horse. Do you know? They do like covers in like they'll do Metallica in with a banjo kind of thing.
Oh yeah. Okay.
What's that style called?
I think it's like metal billy or something. I don't know if there's a specific.
Yeah, it'll come to me anyway. But like, you can really get into it. Like, it's what I used to use to clean my house.
Oh yeah. See, that's the beauty. Like, I love that music. You can put music on anytime, anywhere, and it enhances the mood, right? Like of any place. Like, have you ever gone into a venue and there's no music? And it just feels dead and tired, and I think that's what I miss as well. Live music in venues, I don't see it enough in Perth.
Here's a real weird thing to do, right? Go and watch one of those 80s shows. Like, if you watch Australian 80s shows, like there used to be some shows on like a Country Practice or something like that, like these really old Australian dramas that were very popular. There was no music as much. Like every scene on TV shows now, you don't realize it, but music is there all the time in the background, like setting the mood almost all the time when people are talking. Some kind of, if not sound effects as well, like but there's often even very soft music, and people don't even realize that. And then you listen to these old shows and it's like really,
it's awkward.
Like, hang on a minute, is this just two people talking? Like, I could do this in real life.
That's quite funny.
Entertaining me. And it's interesting to see that. I mean, it is, especially I think with things like TikTok and Instagram Reels and stuff, where there's a lot of like people are using that song and it obviously it brands that song as that thing because it's used over and over and over and over and over in the same context as portraying something, and we just almost like, this is like I'm soundtracking my life here with all these songs.
Yeah,
it was a movie, right? That's what people are doing on their reels and TikTok.
Yeah, definitely. It's definitely music definitely has a power that sometimes we don't appreciate, and it's kind of sad that musicians aren't appreciated much more financially and stuff like that. Like a lot of musicians going through hard times during the pandemic, everything closing down. So it'd be good if the government could step in and,
It is a weird thing though, right? Because it's always been the case. And there was, as in not just, I mean, the coronavirus really threw a massive spanner in the works for millions of people. That, like, it's hard enough as it is to get out there and make it. And if you're already making a living for yourself, like let's say you're just gigging a lot, and most musicians make a living from gigging, and then that just suddenly the rug's been pulled out under you, and it's like, oh, you can't do that anymore, and nothing else has been given to you in replacement for that. It's just like, well, you can't do that because of whatever reason. Like that person who's worked so hard to get all those things, because it's not just, people don't realize, but you have to build relationships with venues to let them repeat.
Yeah, definitely.
You don't just, it's not just like, oh, I've it's literally like applying for a job 3 times a week or 5 times a week. And, in addition to all the knockbacks that you might get, like you've got to continuously, because every gig's a job, you've got to kind of apply for that job. Like imagine the effort that people do to apply for a job, and then like, oh, thank God that's over. I can just rest on my laurels now and rock up to my job. So there's all that effort, right? But I mean, think back to the old times where they had, the King's Court, and the musicians would come and play and stuff. Like it was always somewhat musicianship and the arts has always somewhat been funded by governments.
Yeah, that's true. I think just trying to think about it. It's when did we stop valuing music, really? Like I look at Spotify for one. I've had a lot of streams this last 2 years, and I don't see much money from it, but I see the owner, like, driving around in a Lamborghini and things like that. So there's definitely money in music. It's just not getting to the artists. And that's sad, to be honest, because it's such, I don't do music for money. Like I would do music anyway, but it would be great to get remunerated for the work that I've put in if it's having some success. Like even just my latest song got like 15,000 streams, but I haven't seen anything of it, like money wise.
Yeah, you can't pay your rent with those streams.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's nice, like it's nice, but it doesn't pay the bills. Like the whole exposure box type thing, like that's what I mean. A lot of artists are pivoting to be online and doing more digital things like YouTube and I think that's a great way to supplement income, whether it's doing online courses and teaching. I think that's another avenue to create wealth. But yeah, it's just having creative ways to go about it and looking at it. I think if what we've learned is we can't rely on venues and can't rely on government at the moment. We have to kind of, as musicians, we have to find our own way to make it through. It's a whole thing. Like it's not something you can solve in one afternoon, but
we're not going to solve it on this podcast.
No, exactly.
We might do if we keep talking. It's I think part of the issue in that whole thing is that you just mentioned is like people are going to do it. Musicians love it so much they're going to do it anyway. So if people imagined a world without music, it'd be very empty and very sad and very lonely. And I think we would notice that, like if everyone, just all the musos and singers and everything just went on strike and said, right, no more music, you can't have it, everything's blocked, right?
Yeah,
people would want it. So there is a demand for it. And
definitely.
they'd be like,
Yeah.
oh, okay, shit, we better have to pay. We're going to have to pay for this more, right? But because people do continuously do it, because there are, and I'm not saying people should stop doing it, but then it's like, well, I'm getting it anyway. I'm getting it anyway for free, sort of thing, or
Yeah.
the way they're getting it. Like, if I wasn't putting my music on Spotify as an artist, I'd have no idea what happens to that money I pay to Spotify. And to me, I thought, oh, the songs I stream that month, they take my money and divide it between the artists that I play. That's what I would have probably thought would be fair, right?
Yeah.
And Spotify takes like $1 out of the $10 or whatever they charge you, but they don't do that.
No.
So like, but they could do that. I'm sure that the computer would have the power to do that. Yeah, and so maybe Elon Musk needs to step in and make a new artists funded Spotify.
I wouldn't trust Elon Musk. Yeah, after his failed attempt at buying
yeah, but he's got 43 billion extra now.
Yeah.
Hey,
yeah.
Invested into anyway, it might not be Elon Musk, it might be someone else. Like,
yeah.
but yeah. So it's that's very true. And I think another thing with art is, like, it's very hard to ascend to the higher level. It's like, I don't know if you're aware of Maslow's hierarchy of needs and stuff like that.
Oh, yep.
Psychology. Like, arts is one of those things that's above your basic needs. So if your basic needs are not met, like people that were struggling from the rug being pulled out of them from the pandemic stuff, like artists, well, you're not going to be thinking about, oh, let me create a beautiful song. You're like, no, I need to like feed my family. I need to make sure I've got money to pay my rent. And you literally cannot think, you can't transcend those basic needs, and your whole life is consumed with fulfilling that. And then you can't give yourself to those greater purposes, which is not just for you, it's for the whole world. And it's kind of sad that there isn't more acknowledgement of that. Like, if we could, find, there'd be some sort of way, like, I guess there are scholarships and things like that allow people to do that, but there should be kind of more of that, that allows people to, not have to worry about their day-to-day stuff for a certain period of time, and they can actually then just focus on what they're really, really good at, and the world will benefit from that.
Yeah, well, yeah, the funny thing is they always scrap arts first, like, with anything to save money, but I feel like that's short-sighted. Because as you say, art takes people to a new place, and especially if things aren't going great during that time, having something that is beyond, like, sort of that takes you out of that situation. Yeah, I know music has that power to take you out of a situation in your, what you're dealing with, and can sometimes just break a thought, break a, like, yeah, for me, like, music breaks the depressive thoughts, like it helps me take control of a thought, and takes me to another place that I didn't think of. Like, my it stokes the flame of the imagination, and I think there's something beautiful in that, and powerful, definitely. Yeah, I definitely think there's times in my life, even just writing songs, where I just write stuff and I was like, I didn't realize that I was thinking about that sort of thing. Or yeah, there's a lot of power in it, definitely.
Okay. And can we talk about maybe, about your power of your songwriting process?
Okay.
And like, so do you have a particular way that you write songs? Is it a certain method that you use sometimes, or just random?
There's definitely there's a definite method to the madness. Lyrics come when they come. Could be like 3 a.m, and I just have a weird thought or conversation, or I've read something. I read a lot of books, and there's always, I encourage anyone who's songwriting to read as much as possible. And I'm just trying to think of lyrics in particular. like I know Devil's Due came about because that was kind of like the idea of being stuck in jail and missing loved ones was in my head a lot because I felt like my depression was a prison in and of itself, and that came about pretty quickly. And then I sit down with the guitar and start writing, like melody. Lately, I've been using Easy Drummer and putting on tempo. Like there's a lot of like different parts to it, but yeah, it all comes at the same time. It's not any one particular thing, but I think giving time for it, like sitting down and spending time when you're songwriting, is a really good way to even if nothing comes out of it, at least you've given it time to grow. Even if you only get like 2 sentences out of it, or you get like a riff, or at least you're building it up. And I think that's what I find with songwriting. I may not have all the pieces of the puzzle just to begin with, but having tools like Easy Drummer, sitting down with the guitar, I even I'm friends with Adrian White, who's a Melbourne guitarist, and I get lessons with him sometimes. He helps me develop ideas and solos. Sometimes he's played on my music, which is really awesome. He played on Devil's Due because I was like, I can't imagine what it would sound like, and he sat down and made this amazing solos over all of it, and I was like, damn, that's insane.
I listened to that song and I was like, whoa, that's
like so I actually, that's a good story, because like when I was in Norway, I was really homesick, and I came across his YouTube channel, and I was getting into rockabilly music and psychobilly and stuff like that, and learning to play from watching him. And then I reached out to him for a guitar lesson online, and I think soon we just became friends back and forth. And then he's played a couple of my songs. But yeah, he's been a really good mentor. He's really encouraged my songwriting. I show him a lot of my songs before I release them. And he's been good in that. Like he's definitely someone that's helped unlock my creative process, and finding people like that is gold, especially in the music industry, who are not just great musicians themselves, but great, just great all-round people. Like he's a great human. And having him in my corner has really helped my music go. So for example, Devil's Due, that really exploded. I had I sent it to a sound engineer, because I didn't want to mix it myself. I wanted to get this clean, not pop sound, but like the commercial sound. And I sent it to a guy in Orange County called Austin Hine, who came back, and when you hear it, he added like a prison riot thing at the start of it. It sounds cinematic. He turned something that was just a song into like this cinematic thing with Adrian's music. So this is the process of songwriting in itself, because what started out as just me writing some lyrics turned into this whole thing. Did a music video during the pandemic for it, just in this room. Because there was we couldn't go out anywhere, we couldn't do anything, and that sort of exploded. And then just that song just went around the world while I was still at home, and couldn't tour or do gigs because of the pandemic anyway. So the week before the pandemic hit, I was going to play at the Perth Blues Club, and then look at playing, like going to Melbourne and other places and doing stuff like that. But since then I've had success with that song, and then just recently Born to Raise Hell and Sing the Blues, that traveled the world, like, and I'm still stuck here at home. So I encourage people, send your music out there. Like if it's at a quality that's commercial and sounds great, send it out there and contact radio stations. Especially because the good thing about Devil's Due was the genre was rockabilly. So I contacted rockabilly stations and places like that. And so it got some good radio play and got some positive feedback. And then Born to Raise Hell took another next level, and getting a lot of positive reviews from that. And I'm still stuck here in Perth in my studio, in my home studio, just hanging out. And but that's the power of music, right? It can travel the world, and you don't have to leave your house. Yeah. Though I would love to get on a plane and go to Nashville or LA or wherever. So but at the same time, yeah.
Last year, I was supposed to release my album. I've only just started doing music myself in the last couple of years.
It doesn't sound like it. It sounds amazing.
Oh, thank you.
It's very high quality.
Well, I've used a producer to help me do that. Like that was AGOSTINI that's done most of that good stuff.
Yeah,
the other one that be me and my guitar. Be like, the song's done. Anyway, so I've learned a lot in the process. I've sat there and watched a Logic screen for fucking hours and hours.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, I feel like I'm learning something, and then I get home and I'm like, oh, what the hell was he doing? Like I wouldn't know. Anyway, so I don't know what I was saying. Yeah, that's right. I was supposed to release my album, and I was working towards that, and because I'd started like a few months before 2020, music out there, then the virus happened. I was kind of, everything had to be online. And one of the singles I was releasing, my marketing guy, I met this great guy who's helped me with my marketing, Rob Mac, and I meet with him. He's in Ireland, and we kind of have a chat once a week. And he always comes up with these good ideas and different things. And he said to me, he goes, "Oh, you just need to tell the radio stations and your fans and stuff that you're going to do a global online tour because of the pandemic." And I'm like, what's a global online tour? He goes, "Oh, it's just basically the same live streams that you're doing now, but just at different times with the different people." So he goes, nice. Make a background saying, "Hello, Spain." What's funny is you'll get this because you're in Perth as well. Like, I was literally one weekend, I was getting up at 2 a.m. so I could be in Spain at 7 p.m. because I just put my music out there to everywhere, like main countries, and I found a lot of fans in Italy and Spain like my music, and the UK and the US, so they're the biggest fans, and there's not many people in Australia that know what I do. So I'm like trying to be there, so I'm waking up at like 1 a.m, put my makeup on, hey everybody. Like I'm doing my family all joke. They're like, "Oh, what are you doing this weekend? You got that global online tour?"
That's awesome. But that's the creative, like being creative and going out of the norm. That's what like creatives and artists should be looking at doing, is thinking outside of the box. And that's brilliant. That's a brilliant example of promoting your music without having to leave your house. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
now I'm like, I don't want to do any gigs. I'm like, I'll just stay here in my global online tour studio. Gigs are tough, man. I don't know if my neighbors appreciated me getting up, because at that point I didn't have this commercial space. I was just in at my house. I'm like playing music at 2 a.m. So I just did it. I didn't care. They never complained. But anyway.
Oh, that's awesome.
What was this person doing, like a 40-minute set at 2 a.m.
Just belting it out.
Yeah, and then comes back at like, I'd go back to sleep for a few hours and then do it at 10 a.m. so I could be in the US, it's there 7 p.m. Anyway.
That's brilliant.
All right. And so can I ask you a question about your songwriting? Because I always wonder this. Like, are you the sort of person that can like think, I want to write a song, let me just sit here and try to write a song, or does it have to be like I feel the mood to write a song?
This is gonna not sound arrogant or whatever, but I can write a song in 5 minutes. What I've learned is it won't necessarily be the greatest song. So I have learned to take my time a bit. So before I was just a songwriting machine, especially when I was in Norway, I was writing a song maybe 2 or 3 a week. I just went through this phase of just writing, and out of maybe conservatively maybe 200 songs, I think maybe 20 made the grade. So, but that's the other thing is you've got to write 1,000 songs before you get, at least 20 or 30 that are decent. You got to put in the work. But I'm at that stage now where I can, I sat down here a couple of Saturdays ago, came up with a riff on acoustic, laid it down over a drum track, came up with the lyrics, drums, everything, and it was done by like 3 o'clock that afternoon. So that was, I got in here at 9, finished up at 3, sent it to a girl on Fiverr who sang like duet with me, because I don't know too many singers here in Perth, and it was a country song and it had to sound a particular way, and then sent it to another guy who did what do you call it? Oh my gosh, the what's that, string guitar? Yeah, like the That I can't for the life of me think of what it's called. Yeah, like it's like a steel guitar, like like the country steel.
Like the kind of thing.
I think he's more dobro. I think this is more like the traditional steel thing that you hear it. It's very similar to that.
I know what you mean now, but I'm going to have
to. People are like listening, like yelling it at the podcast, going, "I know what this." I'll be like, comment below and just yell it like in all caps, and because then we won't hear it otherwise. But so I did that, and I'm not trying to sound, but this is after like 15, 20 years of songwriting, right? That I've gotten to that point where I can do it. Not all the time, but lately it's just been a little bit easier to just come in, and that was from scratch. Like I didn't have anything. I just came in and sat down and started noodling on the guitar, and that's not my regular way of doing things, but that's a good example of when you get to a level, after doing it for years, that you can pull it out. I don't even know if the song is going to be successful. That's coming out in a while. What was that called? I've got a list of all the songs I've recorded. My Best Revenge. But another song that was a quick one was Breakthrough Hard Times, but that's, I think, come from a lifetime of pain and suffering, and I was just noodling. I got a new guitar. I'd had like this mojo about I'd been using a guitar in a band and it broke up, so I bought a new guitar and I sat down and wrote this new song, Breakthrough Hard Times, because I'd been hit by a car last year and I was physically just blah. Like and mentally just wiped out from all of it, from the band breakup and just health problems, and then getting hit by the car didn't help the health problems, and then sat down and wrote this song Breakthrough Hard Times, which should already be out by the time this comes out. And that was a beautiful, sort of a sad song, but uplifting at the same time, about overcoming struggles with mental health and things like that. If you like that song, comment below. I'll send a link to you when it comes out, and people can check it out. But that came from the first line of it was worry is all up in my mind. Worry's got me deaf, dumb, and blind. Got to break through these hard times to find you're going to get left behind. And that came through around that time. I lost a friend that I not lost him. I know where he is, but he decided he didn't want to be my friend anymore after 20 years. And that really hurt as well. And so, yeah, this song comes from a lot of heartache, pain, but also overcoming a lot of that and breaking through to the other side. And finding that it's not the end of the world. There's still opportunities. There's still things to find if you live that extra day. Allow yourself that next day kind of thing. Like I've had some pretty dark days and dark nights where I've wanted to end it, and then I've just waited that extra day, waited that little bit longer, and things have come through and gotten through it. And so like I said before, I encourage everyone to get a mental health plan, especially if you're having those kind of thoughts. But I think my songwriting at the moment is coming from a good place where I want to share the struggles, but also have fun and share my sense of humor. I think Born to Raise Hell and Sing the Blues is just a very funny song in a sense of that blues legend. Like it's not a parody, I guess, but it's just that sort of like that next level of the blues, the making the deal with the devil at the crossroads. Like I just wrapped that up to 11 for that song. So so that's how long story short, or short story long, that's songwriting. Songwriting is very personal to me and very mystical and very very passionate about it. It's one of my favorite things.
So. Is music full-time for you? Is this what you do?
Not at the moment. I'm actually, I was really lucky. I got a job just around when the pandemic hit, working for a digital marketing company. I've never done it before. I was unemployed for a year when I got back from Norway, and just struggling to hold down a job. My mental health wasn't great. I couldn't deal with humans, and they couldn't deal with me. My boss, she is an Are You OK ambassador, and she saw something in me that I couldn't see. I think because I'd worked so much with music in Norway, I'd learned to create websites, promote shows, talk to venues, and book gigs. I did all the work in my bands, graphic work, all sorts of stuff. And all those things work in digital marketing, and I had no idea. And actually, that's been a really great job to have. And it's also helped me understand digital marketing for musicians as well, and why having an online digital presence is important. And being consistent in that. I don't always be consistent, but that's another story. But I encourage people to do that. If you're a musician and you don't have a web page, you should really look into it. If you don't have a Facebook page, you should really look into it. And just being consistent in those areas, because people are interested in what's going on behind the scenes. Like, they may love your music, but they also may love you as an artist, and are curious as where does the magic, how does the magic happen? Even what kind of coffee you're drinking or whatever. But so I was really lucky in finding that job, and it's helped me pay the bills, buy all these lovely guitars and instruments in the back, and stay off. I was almost homeless the first year I was back. So now I have a house. I own a house, and I'm really proud of myself that it's turned around. From such a dire situation to such a good situation. So it's been a lot. It's been a whirlwind.
Put a lot of hard work in to get there as well. Right?
I've never worked harder in my life. So
That's awesome. That's so great. And I mean, no one wants to go through the hard times, but it's almost like if you didn't probably have those hard times, you wouldn't have all those awesome songs.
Yeah, it's what is that? That's like the catch-22, right? Is sometimes the great songs don't come unless you've gone through great tribulation or great trials. So yeah, I don't encourage anyone to do that because you know what I mean. Like, but I definitely encourage people to learn how to sing. A choir is a good thing. I learned how to sing in a church choir, even though I don't go to church anymore. But that learning how to sing in a choir was a really good, positive thing, fun.
That's how I learned how to sing too. Like they had no singer. I wanted to play my cello at church, and they were like,
"Oh, we don't
have any room for you. You have to sing."
Do you still play cello?
Yeah, I do.
We have to talk.
I'm not the greatest cello player. I can play.
Oh man, I'm not.
And they were like, but we need a singer, and I was like, oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Oh, that's awesome. Right. Yeah, but that's the thing, right? Like there's a camaraderie in choirs that is kind of weird, and definitely encourage it because it's. Yeah, I learned to sing within choirs, and then I learned to sing sort of a solo way by listening to Jeff Buckley and trying to emulate him. Not that I can sing like him, but I picked up a few things along the way. And yeah, definitely music with other people is a great thing. I do a lot of music in isolation and I don't love that, but when I do have time to collaborate with people and I find it's been the most rewarding, especially with Devil's Due. If you listen to that, like, man, Adrian, you are amazing, dude. If you're listening to this. So, yeah.
Yeah. I think as a songwriter, like what you said about you sending your song out to other people and letting them put their piece on it and doing something different, and you coming back and hearing that, like I find that when I work with like my producer Rob, and what happens is like you just had this like thing that was very, I don't know, like simple, right? Very, and then it's like, wow, I've made this. Like this has all come from this idea that I've had, and it's so amazing. Like I find that amazing, and that, like, to me, that's like you get a massive high from that. Like just going, oh, this wasn't in the world before, and now it is.
Yeah. And like, do you look at it and go, like, because it can be addictive, right? Like you listen to it, you're just like, I just want to do the next one and the next one. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I find, like, whenever I do it, I'm like, oh, what's the next one? Let's do the next, So yeah, I totally encourage that, and I encourage, like, especially for yourself, to work with other people. Like, like the more people you work with, I'm learning, the more different aspects that you learn. And it's quite interesting. Like everyone has a different way of approaching music, and learning the good and the bad. I've had negative experiences and good experiences. The good far outweigh the negative, but there's always something to be learned from it. Yeah. Just don't spend all your money. I got kind of gypped by a guy who in Norway, I spent thousands of dollars on something that wasn't me and what wasn't what I wanted. But that was a good lesson as well.
Yeah, I think if it comes from relationship, then that's good, right? Like, as in, I mean, I'm not saying you've got to pay for people's professional services, but if people are asking for a huge amount of money up front or something, and you're not sure what you're getting for it, because I'm just entering into that situation now with a few things, and especially when it's an industry you don't know anything about, right? Because I've had lots of experience in different businesses. And mostly in healthcare business. And then I was doing something recently with some promotional stuff, and my marketing guy's like, oh, this is normal for this industry. I'm like, it just doesn't feel right to me. And he's like, oh, this is what people do. And I was like basically they want you to sign this contract that's not saying, it's basically saying, you know, you can't badmouth them in any way, but they're not saying anything about what they will actually do for you. And I'm like, and he goes,
well, that to me, that's a red flag.
Don't read it. And I was like,
yeah,
well, I do read it. Like, and so it's different. I think, yeah, you have to, the more people you know in that industry helps you realize what's normal in this industry. And, you know, sometimes you do have to, I mean, for me, I just would suggest, like, I know my own gut feeling, and I go with that particular thing. And it's not like they were a bad company. They're probably a great company. It's nothing to do with their company. It was just wasn't right for me at the time. But like if you don't have the relationships with people, you sometimes don't even know where to start. Like I was like that at the beginning. I was like, oh, I've written these songs. What do I do with them? I was like, I literally put something on Spotify and I didn't even know it had to be mastered. Like I didn't know what it was.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Like that's how green I was. I was like, I went to a studio with a band that I was with, and I recorded 4 songs there, and I was like, oh yes, I've got these songs. So he gave me back the recording from the thing, from the studio day, and I just put them on Spotify.
Wow.
I didn't know. Like no one had told me. So how am I supposed to know?
That's fair. That's about education as well. I understand that. I sent out a song to a radio station and they were like, this nearly blew out our sound system. Like, and I was like, because I thought I'd sent them the mastered version and it was the unmastered version and it was a loud recording. Like it was brutal. And I had to fix that. So I can relate to that a lot. But that was more of a mistake. I'd had it mastered. I just sent them the wrong version. But that's the thing. Like they were not too angry, but they weren't too happy because I nearly destroyed their equipment.
Oh no!
So yeah, but it's a good thing to learn. I usually use Google Review, like anytime I'm thinking, or do like a research them online, like anyone that I'm going to work with, just to see what their reputation is, what they're about, and things like that. Especially like nowadays, because you get people who turn it's the politics of things, right? Like I'm not a fan of guns. But, like, if you start talking to people in America and, they're all like, that kind of stuff. In the background, they've got a big pile of guns. Yeah, like AR-15s. Like, I've got guitars on the wall. They've got, like, semi-automatics. Yeah, and you're just like, I don't really feel comfortable being part of that. Yeah, like, yeah. So the best thing you can do is research as much as possible with the people. Be direct about what your not necessarily politics, but more like your beliefs and I think that's okay in this current climate. But I think also just being kind to people is another thing. But if you're working with someone, do due diligence. Ezra Reeve's a good example where she worked with a guy who turned out to be a total creep. I don't know if you're familiar with her.
I listened to her podcast and I've heard her sing live a few times.
Yeah.
I heard about, I listened to her whole podcast. I was like, oh, that's what a strange story.
Yeah. And that always worries me because I've had a few times where I've wanted to record people, men and women. And I'm like, do you want to hang out and record? But in a good way, right? Like, but nowadays, like, you don't know what you're getting, and just be smart to do your research, get to know someone, have that sort of be on the lookout for red flags and stuff like that. Like, if you have to sign something that says don't badmouth them in the media, that to me is a bit of a red flag because it's happened before, and you're like, okay, like, So, and also just remember that you're the customer and you can shut things down if you're not happy, and I think even with consumer law, you can I know that's the extreme, right? But if you feel like you've entered into something and you're not getting value for money, you can approach like I think it's consumer law or like ombudsman and all that kind of stuff to see where you're at, like what your position is and stuff.
Yeah, you go to
definitely.
ACCC website,
Yeah,
Australia,
yeah,
and if you just Google ACCC or you just put consumer law, make a complaint. There's a web page that comes up and it has a 3-step process, and it encourages you to try to sort it out with the person first.
yeah.
So there is a recourse there for that. Like, I don't know how we got on to talking about.
No, this is actually a really good subject because musicians get taken advantage of left, right, and center. If you get an email saying, "Hey, Marie, I heard your music on Spotify, and I think I can do something for you," that's a red flag. Like cold calls out of nowhere, like that's a scam. Like, you know, and musicians are subject to scams a lot. I got a message through Instagram from a lady who wanted me to write her grandson a song, and I checked on like a spam alert or scam alert website, and it turns out it was a scam. So they'll pay you money, and it'll be too much, and they'll want you to send money, and it was this whole thing, and I was like, yeah. So just being careful when people come up to you, and even after shows I've had people come up to me and going, yeah, that was really cool, man, I can take your music to the next level. That's when the bell goes off, right? Like, yeah, you're like, nah, like I don't know you, you're just someone out of nowhere. So yeah, just always do your due diligence when you're dealing with anyone in the music industry, and you know, if something happens, tell someone. Like, you know, I think that's the biggest lesson from that we can take from a lot of the stuff that's happened in the Me Too stuff and all that kind of stuff, and in the Australian music scene, like with Sony and stuff like that. Something happens, speak up, you know, and find the support that you need. Yeah, I definitely a big proponent of protecting yourself as a musician, and, you know, not having your music stolen or signing a record contract and you can't release any music outside of, you know, that sort of thing. Yeah, definitely protect yourself. So it's definitely important. Important.
Oh yeah. I guess as you were talking, I was just thinking, like, I've gone through a lot of all those things with my other businesses. So I'm really aware of all those things. Like, so I can, like, I won't even open those things. Like, I get it literally, probably lots of musos do, hundreds of DMs on Instagram all the time, like, you know, for this thing and exactly like what you said, like the Spotify, we can take it to the next level. And I just like, I don't even probably even read those things to be aware. But as you were talking, it reminded me, like, I've got a friend who's been in the music a long time or something, and he sent me a message and he was like, oh, like, this sounds really great, like, what's all this about, or something, like he'd gotten one of those, and I said, that sounds like a scam, and he's like, oh, it sounds like they're going to promote us or something like that, and I was like, I don't think they are.
Yeah.
I don't think that's what that means. Like, that's what they're saying, but then, you know, and yeah, there's there are sometimes people well, what happens is, I've realized, like, from my businesses, because I've had similar, like you said, about telling other people in that industry. And when you do, you realize, like, hang on a minute, they did the same thing with me. Like what you said with the money, where they overpay you so that you have to then pay them money back, or they make it sound as if that's kind of the normal thing. Oh, you just give us your credit card so that we can and then we give you our thing, and then we pay you money, and but we need you to give us a voucher. And this they had this convoluted story about this, like, disabled kid that's got to be receiving the gift voucher for the music, and you need to I had this really funny thing happen once, and I still to this day don't even know whether this was for real or not for real, right? I think you'll probably laugh at this story. When I was first starting thinking I was going to get into music, I put an ad on Gumtree saying I will do people's weddings or, you know, events and stuff like that, right? Like, it was just this was probably like 2018 or something, right? So I was like, you know, acoustic musician to do this stuff. I had a guy ring me up and he was like, seen your ad about your Gumtree. He was an Indian guy. I won't do his Indian accent, but
yeah, fair enough.
Indian guy. He said, "Oh, me and my wife are going to get married, and we're wondering if you would play at our wedding." And he goes, "But it's a bit of an unusual wedding, and we've got a theme of our wedding." That's how he put it. He said, "We've got a theme." I was like, "Oh, okay, no worries." Like, and at this point in my life as well, I was like, because I'm a really hard, like, I'm just like, no, I would like, that's stupid.
Yeah.
And someone had told me, "Oh, Marie, you need to be more open to ideas and opportunities and stuff, and don't just shut people down. Just listen to people." So I was like going through this thing of like, "Okay, what's your theme?" And he goes, "Well, me and my partner and I have really embraced this lifestyle, and we just love it so much, and we're both nudists, and we just love." And he started going on about how he loves the nudist lifestyle, which is great. Like, good on him. And his partner, and he goes, "We just love we love being nudists." And he goes, "I have to go to work and things like that, but then as soon as we get home, we just take our clothes off and we just embrace our nudist, identity or whatever, And then he goes, "And we've got all these other friends that are nudists as well, and we just love it so much, and we'd really want to have a nudist wedding." And he goes, "We've already got the celebrant on board to play to do the ceremony nude as well. We want everyone at the ceremony to be nude." He goes, "Would you be interested in playing guitar at this wedding?"
You're like, "Yes, but I'm getting like the biggest guitar ever."
I'm thinking, like, you don't know how you play the guitar, buddy. Like, I have to open my legs to support where that guitar's going. Like, just thinking how, like, all these things.
You get like a jumbo, the jumbo guitar.
I'll play the cello for you. It'll be tasteful.
Wow. So then did he just say, "Can you send some nudes?" Is that what was the next?
No, it got worse than that.
Oh, wow.
No, so like he didn't say that, but, and I'm thinking, at this point I was thinking, is this a radio station like ringing me up?
Yeah.
Like, is this something? So I was thinking, just keep your cool, Marie. Just don't be an idiot. And I was like, because I was waiting for the punchline, waiting for the people to laugh on the other end of the phone. And he goes, we understand that this is, and I said, where is your wedding going to be? Like, and I said, what, do you even know what style of music I play? Like, it's very laid back. I said, it's not really like, do you want this in the ceremony, or isn't in the as you're going down the aisle? Like, what kind of, like, he goes, "Oh, we'd love," well, that's what he said. He goes, we want it in the reception. We'd love people to get up and dance. He goes, "So don't feel, don't worry if things are swinging around." He said that to me, and I was like, okay. And I said,
"Wow,
I'm not really, I wasn't like, at this point I was just sure it was a radio station ringing up." And I said, "Look, I can't really say, I can't say, commit to this or anything. I'm just going to have to think about this. I'm not sure about it." And I said, he goes, "Well, look, if it would make you feel more comfortable," he goes, "it'd probably be a good idea to meet us first." And I said, "Yeah." I said, "Yes, if I was going to do this, it probably would be better to meet you first." And he goes, "And to make you feel more comfortable, we could invite you over to our house for a threesome."
Oh my God. Where did he go through all that when it was just like, we're looking for a third?
And I think they were just looking for, and then I called my brother, because I'm a bit naive on this area, and I was like, "Oh, this guy's so weird. Like, he just wants this, he's doing this dude wedding." And I told my brother, and he goes, "Marie, he's seen your photo on Gumtree and he wants a threesome."
Yeah.
And that's his long-winded story about getting you over for a threesome. With your guitar.
Wow. Yeah, that is pretty convoluted. Like, yeah. Just cut to the chase, buddy.
No, but like, yeah, I mean.
So know. How was it?
I did the cello version.
Wow.
I didn't do it because I wouldn't be able to take any photos for my Instagram.
Yeah, fair enough. It's all about the gram.
Why waste it?
Wow. Yeah, that's I haven't had that one yet.
Yeah.
It's one to look out for.
Anyway, you get asked to do a themed wedding. That's the tip off.
Yeah, well, that's not even a theme. It's just nudity, right? Like,
I know. That's
I was expecting like cosplay or like anime or we all dressing as pirates.
You play your guitar in a bear costume, be a unicorn bear or something.
Yeah, a furry wedding. Wow, next level.
Oh, it's been so great to chat with you and discuss all
Yeah.
these interesting things about your music and mental health. And so I'm going to put your links below for people that are watching, listening. You can find out where Derek's music is on Spotify. And is that the main place the music goes out?
I've got a Bandcamp. Like, if you're feeling generous and you want to really support, I think Bandcamp is better because just buying an album on there is a lot better than waiting 50 years to get the same amount of money from Spotify. But like, if you want to follow, like, subscribe, all that kind of stuff, I appreciate it. I love hearing people say, oh, like, let me know that they enjoy the music and things like that. Don't be shy. Definitely.
Awesome. So you've got the new single, Born to Raise Hell.
Yep.
And, you've got another new single coming out after that, right?
Yep. Breakthrough Hard Times. And then for Halloween, I've got Racing Against Death, which will have another guest of Adrian White playing lead guitar, which I'm really proud about. I'm just releasing singles for the rest of this year, taking a break, and then releasing an album next year. So
work really hard. So you're releasing like a single a month almost.
No, I'm doing it every 3 months, I think it is. Okay. That's another, if you haven't checked out Jesse Cannon on Spotify, on YouTube, check him out, because he talks about how musicians should release albums and how to promote. He's a really good resource. So lately, like, after releasing the album last year, I was pretty tired and burnt out. Mm-hmm. So thought I'd just release 3 songs this year and take a bit of a break. Maybe do the same thing next year, but who knows? Yeah. I just having fun with music, and hopefully, if you see me put up some gigs, come along, check it out. You'll be surprised what a guy with one guitar and a voice can do. And if you want to get up and dance, go for it. So, probably not going to be doing any nude weddings lately, but, just keep an ear out, an eye out. Always open to new things.
Yep. Awesome. All right. So people can connect with your music there and connect with your Facebook or your Instagram, and let Derek know what you thought of his songs and if it's connected with you.
Yeah, in a kind way. If it's just gonna troll me. Yeah.
No, as in, if your song's connected with you, let him know that.
Yeah, that would be cool.
I'm gonna say something else. Go away.
Yeah, pretty much.
Think about what you said at the start. Give him a ladder up.
Yeah, I would love a ladder. Like, I'm tall, but
not one of these ladders.
Yeah. Well, that's more of a pole.
Not a one post. It's a post. You can't go anywhere.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right. It's so great to talk to you. And thank you everyone for listening. If you're still here, we appreciate your support. Like and subscribe to YouTube. It really helps us to get found. And it's really new, so would really appreciate you doing that. And thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you again on another episode soon. Thanks, Derek.
Thank you, Maria. I've had a great time. Cheers.
Time in world history. The good vibes show. So good. The good vibes show. It's gotta be good. The good vibes show. The good vibes show.